sign. Opened up my eyes, I saw the sign. And if that ends up anywhere else, I'm getting pissed.
Hey, are you feeling lonely? Do you want to talk horror with the community? Do you want to join the show? Well, you can. That's what this show is all about. Just click the link in the chat and in the description under this video. And then, make sure that you turn on that webcam and make sure your face is on camera because I'm not going to let you in unless I see who you are. Finally, there is no censorship here, but please, be respectful. If you're not respectful, I'm going to have to bounce you and someone's going to accuse me of being a hypocrite.
It's been like a million years since we've done a community show. And
I know. Yeah.
Frankly, I had nothing prepared, so I just drew up all the old videos. I didn't realize we were going to be like quite as consumerist as that came off with a lot of old ads for stuff. Everything's still available until the end of the month. Yeah. So, Stone, you're the first in the door, man. It's been a while since I've had you live in cam.
Yeah. Putty Tat.
Yeah, this is the Kazi.
The Kazi. Yeah.
The Kazi.
Aw.
There she is.
Aw. Lovely.
She will be climbing me throughout the evening. 2023, my man.
It's almost over.
Thank fucking Christ.
Yeah, I know, man. Shit.
Can someone just push the reset button on the simulation and take us back? I don't know. I'll even deal with mid 2000s.
Yeah, that would work.
The 90s would be nice though. I think the 90s were the best decade of my life in many ways.
I can understand that. Yeah.
Even though ironically the horror genre was in a horrible place, my life was going pretty swimmingly.
Hey, I was born in 79 and nothing I wish I was there for the whole decade of the 70s. I really wish I was.
I was born in 73. And I'll tell you that I have some memories, not many, honestly. I don't have a lot of young memories. But I do honestly remember the whole decade being sepia tone. Like that was the color palette at the time.
A lot of yellows and browns, a lot of earth tones. Yeah. Yellow and brown.
Brown corduroy pants. That is the decade that we know as the 1970s. So everything wasn't great, but cinema was on fire. Probably the best modern decade for cinema. I would say not golden age, but it you know where I fall there. But from modern stuff, the 70s was this time when everyone was trying shit, just anything. There was no rules anymore, and
experimental. Be very experimental,
and you could go as far with whatever concept as you wanted. You didn't. There was no brick wall that you were going to hit saying, "Oh wait, you can't do that." So you get things like the French Connection, right?
Yeah, and Sorcerer.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, that's why a while back we were talking in the community about what director had pulled off the best like back-to-back track runs, and Friedkin was my answer because how can it not be, right?
I'm going to have to go with Hal Ashby.
Yeah.
7 films in the 1970s, and they're all masterpieces or near masterpieces, in my opinion.
Respectful. But see, we're coming back to the same time period, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so and then the 80s came along, and I know a lot of people have the warm fuzzies, but everything became a Saturday morning cartoon in the 80s.
Oh, everything. Yeah. Rambo became a cartoon. RoboCop became a cartoon.
I would argue, though, that Rambo was already a cartoon. It just wasn't animated. Because looking back, it's Wile E. Coyote. It's not anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So, and then the 90s tried to clean things up, but the 90s were so preoccupied in other arts, I think, that film kind of just like, they glommed towards, okay, so we like Tarantino, I guess. Which was just like, let's try and do the 70s again.
Exactly.
I thought that whole run of like wannabe Tarantino films, like Love in a 45 and all that stuff, it was hilarious to see people trying to do it, like desperately trying to do it.
I remember one with Steve Buscemi called like Jimmy One Eye or something like that. I mean, there were a slew of these Tarantino knockoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the worst one, in my opinion, the worst one was Boondock Saints.
I have weird feelings about that film. I understand why people love it, but I've never been able to get there. But there was that time period that all that shit was happening, and it was weird because True Romance had come out and it was not a hit, but that was the one they wanted to imitate.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Dan.
Hey, Stone, how's it going?
Oh, it's great to be on the right side of morality, as Lauren would say. After I finally brought back slipcover slayings.
I loved it. I was looking around and I was like, I don't have one to follow it up with. I've run through all my community donated slipcovers.
And I understand Terror Train is, I think, a little underwhelming in the horror community. I know it's not huge, but then again, it's no Road Games either.
No. Hey, Road Games got Franklin Psycho 2. I mean, that says something. When someone says, you know what, that was good enough, why don't you make a sequel to a Hitchcock film? That's something there, man. Mm-hmm. Probably the best sequel of the 80s and definitely one of the best sequels ever made. Psycho 2 is a staggering accomplishment.
It really is. We did a retrospective on all the movies earlier in the year, and that really does hold up. It's in the conversation for best horror sequel for sure, or any sequel really.
Yeah, it really is the Godfather 2 of horror.
It is.
Just the smart, bold choices are just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that. You know what? That disc is merely serviceable, but it's everything we need. Which is my mantra on physical media. Just give us what we need. Get the price where we need it. Get it out there, because I want people to actually see these films. That's one thing I hate. So when people talk about the boutique labels and they get all warm and fuzzy about the boutique labels, I'm going to tell you something. I would rather the majors put this shit out every day of the week, because they'll put it out so that a retailer can sell it.
Yeah, I agree.
And more people will see the film. Again, if you love your special features and all that, that's great. I'd
sacrifice them at this point.
I would sacrifice them to get a wider audience for some of these movies. Because today isn't a problem. In 40 years, these movies are going to become lost films if we don't do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like Ebola syndrome, which I think the outrageous factor of that would play well today, but you're not creating the same amount of fans that discovered this stuff when you could buy it in Best Buy.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because something like that I do think would be like, my God, a little kid discovering that for $10-15 in Walmart.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And see, that's the thing. Like, we no longer have network television to have a stumble across things. We no longer have UHFs middle of the day to give us our monster features. So where are people going to discover this stuff? It's just like comments under videos on YouTube. That's it. It doesn't matter how available it is. If they don't know to look for it, they can't get it.
That's true. Shudder and Screambox, I do think, are doing their job right now, but it's so limited. It really is, and there's so much out there. That's why, we've beaten this drum to death. But when people just keep covering the same goddamn movies, I'm like, you're not making new fans. You need to make new fans. You will surely like other stuff. Just, be adventurous with your film choices. Ooh. Favorite version of New York City?
Night Shift.
Night
Back in
Shift's
the pre-Giuliani sex-starved and fueled Times Square, where, all the sticky floors and the projectors, showing all the porn and everything. That was the New York I wish I would have experienced.
Jess, I wish I could have gone back to that.
Jess, look under the video. There's a link.
Yes. Go to the top, Jess. It's been a while. People forgot.
Well, it's also in the description under the video.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I've always said if I had a time machine, early 70s, anywhere, really 70s in general, 42nd Street, I'd have to be there. I might get stabbed and mugged, but it could be worth it.
I would say the opening visit through Times
New
Square
York
in,
Ripper.
Close. Nightmare on Damaged Brain.
Ooh, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's the New York that makes you feel like you want to shower after seeing 10 minutes of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could experience something like Fight for Your Life with the original audience. I can't even imagine. And I'll never have that experience, and it sucks.
Fight for Your Life is a weird fucking movie.
There's a lot of bullshit when it comes to some of these films when they screened, and it's like people passed out or people rioted. That one I can believe. Fight for Your Life, I can believe that drew some really angry reactions. I wish that would be a top 5 for me as far as Grindhouse stuff if I could experience it on a big screen. That movie is insane.
It sure is. It's hilarious that when you try and find the trailer online to show people, it's like so dark and washed out. They're like, I'm never watching that thing.
They lost the negative, I believe, in a flood, so it's one of those ones that'll never get a Blu-ray.
That's almost a good thing. Like, I think there's something about no, I don't want films to be completely lost. Don't get me wrong. But a film like that, a true Grindhouse film, the obscurity does help the reputation grow and grow and grow and grow.
It does. Oh, absolutely.
Dan, that's seriously, when you said that, it made me think of a Toad in American Graffiti. Oh yeah, I lost my license in a flood, and I just need to get a bottle of Old Harper.
It happens. It happens.
What? Yeah, it happens every day. Yeah, just lost my license in a flood.
Dan, it's funny you mentioned Ebola syndrome right at the top of the show, because this is gonna take a little bit of mathematics to get here, but the great Anthony Wong's bigger performance, what better known mainstream Cat 3 performance is Untold Story, of course, right?
Yeah.
Well, I saw a film today that was tried at one point, just at random, to kind of mirror the most infamous moment from Untold Story.
Oh.
So Pin Them, which is in theaters right now, just not a lot of them, is not a great film. It's a D, okay? But 2 scenes in it make it an almost must-see, despite the fact that it's not very good. We'll get to the first one in a second, but the second one is a scene in which we randomly find out why the house is haunted, and it's just this guy who kills 5 female children, like in quick successions, after tearing a fetus out of a pregnant woman.
Wow.
And up to this point, this movie plays like straight PG-13.
Yeah.
Safe, real safe. And then suddenly we have fetuses torn out and these children being murdered on screen, including one who has her head crushed by a bookshelf, and it splashes.
Can you imagine running to take a leak and then you just come back and everybody's just looks like they're just mortified? It's like,
oh my God. But the number one reason you need to see this movie, I have not laughed in a theater as loud or as long ever in my life. The first thing you see on screen is a statement that no animals were harmed in the making of this film, and that the dog featured was created by a computer. The film flashes to the first scene, and the first thing you see is a dog on screen that I swear looks like something from a late 1990s screensaver.
Yeah,
walking up to a car and growling. Like, no one on earth would confuse this with an actual dog. It just, there's no way. But then, like, the psychic woman who's Warren, if you will, in the car, looks over, and the dog starts running and bashing its head into the car. Just repeatedly. And this goes on for like 2.5 minutes of the dog progressively bashing its own head in against the car door. But it's like a sprite.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so happy they did it. It's such a miserably poor effect, and it's so awesome.
I'll have to look for that one. You should write a book on Indian genre cinema.
Oh my God.
I feel like that doesn't really exist in the States.
Well,
Game Over would be, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's its own chapter. I'm still going to do an autopsy on game over at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm working on an autopsy on a different film, which is like a really mainstream film that I think sometimes doesn't get the credit it deserves, and is at the center of a bunch of stupid controversies, and that needs to stop. I'll just say it. It's Poltergeist.
Okay.
Because Poltergeist does some really very cool things, but you'll never really notice it's doing it because the surface story is so compelling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So when will that happen? When will you see it? Well, I don't know. If it's like my Cronenberg retrospective, probably around 5 years from now. I don't know. Everything's slow moving at the moment. It's been not been a good year. It's not been a good year. It's certainly not been a good last month. So everything works right now.
I've been waiting forever. I know I heard several years ago that there was a Poltergeist documentary out there that has like interviews with all the main cast members, Craig T. Nelson, Jo Beth Williams, and it still hasn't been released yet. And I've heard about this from multiple sources. Like, why is these things taking so long? I mean, granted, it took 5 years for us to get that RoboCop documentary, and it was awesome. But
was it produced independently, or did it have Amblin's seal of approval? That's my question.
I think it was independently. It wasn't. Yeah,
I think that's why you haven't seen it.
Like studio support. Yeah. But apparently, everybody talked about it in the documentary. So everybody, the key players involved. And that's why I've been waiting forever for a Poltergeist documentary.
I don't want to like blow my steam on it, but what I will say about Poltergeist is that I'm convinced that if a different producer and editor had worked on the post-production of the film, there would be no question in anyone's mind that it's a Tobe Hooper film.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gets the stigma, it gets the Spielberg stigma, which at the time was a beautiful thing for it, but today is a curse for that film.
Yeah, I always feel bad Toby doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and that's always sort of hung over him But
I think what that video will show is kind of like the thematics of the movie are nothing that Spielberg is known for, but it's everything that Hooper is actually known for. When you look at his whole filmography, if you don't get hung up on Texas Chainsaw,
absolutely.
Although it does have some thematic tendency to Texas Chainsaw. I think if you look at something like Eaten Alive and Poltergeist back to back, which pretty much is how it goes, there's a shocking amount of thematic ground that is shared.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be curious to see your autopsy.
Don't get me wrong. Spielberg developed the project. Okay.
Sure.
As Dark Skies.
Yeah, you're going to have influence.
Which weirdly enough, eventually is recycled into a film called Dark Skies for Blumhouse. But I don't know. I think I think that I'm not a huge Poltergeist fan. I actually like Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, more until its disastrous last 10 minutes.
He's with Christian Hanna on this.
Oh well, I think Julian Beck's Reverend Cain may be one of the best screen villains of all time, and
he was literally dying. He looked like a ghoul.
But you know what's great? What he did is beautiful. He took Mitchum's Night of the Hunter and turned it into a spectral force, and he did it in a way with his performance that is. I don't think you can try and do it. I think you had to be in that place in life. I think you're right, because he does nothing overtly sinister, really.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
he's just a kind of a like a charlatan preacher. Is that what it comes off as? He walks down the road in bright daylight. That's not how a ghost should appear, right? But we know, and that's why when after he died, they tried to recast the role and put bad makeup on another actor. It just didn't work. Because there's nothing uncanny about the Cain in Poltergeist 3. Of course, it's not you. Someone could play Poltergeist 3, and I'd be happier. But
yeah,
the movie is not good. Sorry, I know we want to try and find love for it, but it's not a good film.
No, especially with what came before. That's a big drop off.
Yeah. I've been hoping that there would be like a uncut version of Poltergeist 2, because it always seemed too short to me. It always felt like there was like 20 or 30 minutes chopped out.
Well, there's not that much, but there was a 8-minute prologue sequence taking place during Cain's communion that is missing. As a revival meeting, in which everyone dies. It's Jonestown. That was filmed. It exists somewhere, and it's never been. No one's ever seen it. No one's ever seen it. It did make it into, although they changed where it is, it did make it into the novelization by Alan Dean Foster.
I've never read that. I should.
If you can find a copy for reasonable.
Yeah.
I haven't looked recently, but a while back it was going for some money.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Those tie-ins, man, they'll never be back in print, so that's why they get those price tags.
Yeah,
Licensed novels are tough.
They're doing a lot of novelizations right now. Vinegar Syndrome's got a bunch that they're selling.
I know, Vinegar Syndrome. You're gonna call me, right?
There you go. There you go. Ebola Syndrome, the novelization.
Oh my God! Please, please, please! I will drop everything. I promise you.
Perihelion can wait.
I'm a novel ahead on that anyway. We're good.
Did either of you guys bother with the Poltergeist remake? Because I sure as hell didn't. I was like, screw that.
I don't remember a thing about it.
Yeah, it wasn't like awful. It's just forgettable. I remember Sam Rockwell, who I like.
Yeah, very good actor.
Yeah, some of those aren't as bad as I've gone back and I've seen a few and some retrospectives we've done, and I mean, the Amityville Horror remake is not good, but it's better than a lot of the sequels. I mean, it's not.
Oh yeah, besides the second film, sure.
I believe that.
Oh yeah, no. Second is my favorite. Period. I love the second.
That
movie.
is starting to become consensus, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yes, it rips off Exorcist for sure, like everything was at that point. But that's a damn fine genre film. I would say the first is a little overrated. I like it, but two is definitely the best Amityville movie. Period. Even the unofficial ones.
Because of Diane Franklin.
Oh yeah,
that's the reason.
Wait, is it? It's about time, or is it? Which of the later sequels has Kim Coates in it? Because one of them does.
That's the Canadian one. It's like kind of arguable if it's official, because at that point it was just that was like the first like, oh, we can use Amityville.
Dollhouse, Amityville Dollhouse, is that it?
That's not Kim Coates, but that was. I think that's considered like the last official when you got into the Cursed Objects era. That was like 96. Amityville Dollhouse is entertaining. It has some pretty good effects in that one, for sure. But,
and now you got all these Tubi clones that just use Amityville just to recklessly abandonment. It's like a billion movies.
How many horror remakes of Steamboat Willie are going to be put into production in January 1st, by the way?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you're going to get a lot.
You're going to get a lot.
I love the idea of it because I hate Disney as a corporation, and I just want to see I just want to see Mickey do the most awful shit. I want Cat 3 style treatment of Mickey.
The only thing is he can't speak is the problem. Because it has to be based on the performance in Steamboat Willie. It can't be based on anything to do with the character afterwards.
So he couldn't speak and just obviously not be the same voice. Like he can't be verbal at all. Because I would say he could, as long as the voice is separate enough.
That's a real legal line. I mean, there could be a lawsuit there easy, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can only base it on what's on that screen. Now that doesn't mean you can't do something new. But if you trip the line into something that exists, then you're in trouble. So you have to be real friggin' careful. But I still think they're going to happen. I don't, because there's money to be made there from the anti-Disney crowd.
Yeah, I feel. Would they even bother with the lawsuit? Because I feel like it would draw just more attention. Seems like one of those ones Disney might just. Like,
they just cease and desist it. That's it.
Yeah. Escape from Tomorrow. Look at that movie. I don't know how they got away from that. Got away with that. I mean,
see, that's that line. I mean, you can film in a public place, right? Now, Disney World is not a public place. However, if they allow cameras in with every family, do they have the right to say how you can use the footage that's shot there? It's not like a movie theater, whereas they say you can't have a camera.
Yeah.
which of course is ridiculous because everyone has a camera. But
oh yeah,
I always felt like, I mean, it's Disney. They could sue you just to sue you and crush you. No indie filmmaker is going to be able to fight Disney. So I don't know. I always thought it was odd that they just ignored that one. That movie blew my mind. I still to this day have no idea how they got away with it. But
you think it's just because it was an art house film? They feel like you're like, there's no money to take, and it's not going to have any legacy as a film. It's going to be forgotten, and we'll be just fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like something like, and I love your title.
I think Mickey Mouse raping a dog is going to be a different issue.
Yeah, like if you have like a Joe Spinell take on Steamboat Willie, and he's like, scalping prostitutes. I don't know. That might just be like, oh, well, wait a minute here. Like, we're not okay with this. You're gonna have so many.
I don't know if you realize this, but this year is the 100th anniversary of the Disney brand. And I'm just glad that they've had the worst year in their history because of this year with all their flops and bombs and everything. And on top of all that, when it comes to horror films and everything, I'm just glad that they weren't able to touch "Don't Torture a Duckling." I'm just glad they weren't able to touch, and they're probably pissed about that to this very day. They probably are.
Pixar had already worked on the concept art, so.
They're weird because they'll come after like some orphanage or something that has like their characters painted on the wall.
They are so anal about it. I mean, I've heard that you can stream any movie from any studio and you won't have an issue except with Disney. Any other studio you won't have an issue with.
So, to give you an idea about how crazy the Disney brand is, they're not the only company that does this, just to be fair. But so in their licensing, they have different categories of licensing. There's A, B, and C, basically. So an A license title would be something like Lion King, which has the most value and is very expensive. So where do you see Lion King stuff? You see it at the Disney stores, and you will see it at a Walmart or a Target, but the price tag will reflect what it is, right? You'll definitely see it at like the Macy's. Then there's the B titles, right? And that's something that's evergreen but not relevant in the moment. So Sleeping Beauty, right? And then they have C. And C is very cagey because these are not the top line. These are almost irrelevant, but they sneak in through the door. So that's where you're going to get your Encanto, but it's also where you're going to get stuff like Frozen 2. Like Frozen 1, the original, is merchandised at a much higher rate, even though they're the same characters that look exactly the same. But if the package says Frozen 2, immediately you start seeing it in your dollar stores and you in the discount racks at Walmart. And
that's why we get Hellraiser Inferno merchandise still.
Right. Yeah. And no, it's the same concept. Which is why when they McFarlane Toys released that first wave of Movie Maniacs, they made a Jason Voorhees figure that was clearly based on the 7th film, but put it in Jason Goes to Hell packaging.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I believe one of the Candymans was from the 3rd film.
Yeah.
I always thought that was funny. Is a younger collector is like, what the hell is this?
Well, people do not realize that ownership of movies is not consistent in franchises.
No.
These franchises move. The production companies who you want to look at from merchandising and licensing. Yeah. And if you look at the Friday 13th, you'll see that except for a few of them, they're all produced by different companies legally.
Yeah.
So you got to go to that company. It's not like everyone thinks Paramount like owns half of it and New Line owns half of it, and they might have a part of some of it, but they're distributors. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they're the ones that package it out to theaters, and that's their role.
Yeah,
they didn't make the things; they don't own the copyrights. Now they're the only ones that can distribute it, so it's almost as good as owning the copyright. But that's why the Friday lawsuit nowhere in it was the name Paramount Pictures. Nowhere.
Yeah, it gets really complex. I remember following that lawsuit throughout the years and just like my head just spinning. But we're gonna get some crazy stuff. I know there's other things that I know are coming up too.
No violence.
We might get that Winnie the Pooh versus Steamboat Willie movie. You're gonna see a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, we're not going to see another Disney movie practically until late next year because of the whole strike thing kind of pushed everything back. But the one that's supposed to come out next is Deadpool 3, and that's been having some major issues right now. Ryan Reynolds is like fighting Bob Iger tooth and nail to not, damage the quality of that and everything. It's all going on right now as we speak. So I don't know. Bob Iger has just destroyed the company. Literally, he literally has burned it down. I think.
My guess is there's probably some jokes that he wants in there that they're not going to like. But the problem, the Disney thing now has gone so mainstream. Everybody's aware of it. South Park just recently with the Panderverse episode, everybody's quoting that. I think having a little bit of time not flushing $300-400 million down the toilet on a movie is probably a good thing for them. I don't know what you do to fix Disney at this point. I mean, that Snow White movie now with all the back and forth on that feels like it's destined to tank as well. I don't know. I don't know what you do to fix it. I think Frozen was probably the last classic that they made, I suppose. I'm not the best person to ask, but that seems like what people would say. It's been a long time. They just lost the magic.
I think there's a certain amount of unfortunate group piling on with it too. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely, for sure.
I mean, I'm not a Disney fan, so it's easy for me to pick on them. But but by the same rate, it's kids' movies, so it's not my thing. And a lot of people who it's not their thing are attacking. In a way, I listen. Do I think they've made some bad choices? Sure, but they're not my choices to make. The Marvel thing was never my thing. Did I enjoy the run for a while, like everyone else, because it was different than what was out? Sure. Did it run aground pretty early for me? Sure. Are there some really well-written films in that collection? Yeah. Sure. I mean, but when you're talking about 37 films or some fucking thing,
it's going like 40, I think, soon. I think, as somebody said, and there were some bad ones during the hype, though, too.
Sure.
That's one thing I keep reminding people. Iron Man 2 or 3, whatever the one with Ben Kingsley, that was bad. We had bad ones. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the problem was action films ceased to exist as soon as we got to the original Iron Man. Like the Taken thing was like the last hurrah. And then American action films became, hey, let's get either Gerard Butler or Liam Neeson to go and fight people. And it won't actually sell tickets, but we'll have it happen.
They do a little bit better overseas. I mean, that's why they keep making them. We need a new action star. I think the youngest true action star we have is Statham, and he's like 56, 57. That's like the youngest right now, and that's wild.
Well, again, I mean, if you look at my top 10 of the year, there's plenty of it, but none of it's from America. So,
no, this
was a great year for action films, just not here. But that was true of everything. It wasn't a good year for horror here. I mean, we tend to throw Talk to Me into the American thing, but it's not an American film.
No, it's not.
Just because it's in English does not mean it's an American film. And
exactly.
I really like Saw X, but let's be honest. I mean, part of the charm of Saw X is that it beat everyone's expectations. The 10th film in a saga should not be the best film in the franchise, and it is by, I would say, considerable length. And that's a franchise. You know what? Yeah, they have their lesser entries, but they don't have the big embarrassments that most of the major franchises have.
No, Final Chapter was not great, but by and large, it's a pretty strong franchise.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what we're talking about is the good American horror. It's tough. It's a tough year for the spooky stuff domestically.
Does it matter as long as we're getting good horror, though? I mean,
not to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's like That's fine. If we can't do it anymore, I'll take a When Evil Lurks from Argentina.
Right.
I'm good with that. It's no big deal to me. So I don't know what it. This is kind of a reorganization period, and I really do feel like with Marvel kind of deep into their decline now, we need to take a shot and create some new action stars. You know, grab an MMA fighter or a new pro wrestler or whatever, you know, some kickboxer somewhere, and let's try and make the next kickboxer or Bloodsport.
I guess like people are putting all their money on the John Wick series, but I have an issue with that as a template going forward. It's this incredibly stylized, incredibly formulaic. I can't tell those movies apart. Series, I like them all.
Yeah.
But
do you feel fatigue? Like the last one I liked, but I feel like, okay, that should be it for his character because we're so far away from, like, they killed your dog in the first movie. You haven't killed anybody that had anything to do with that in a long time. I don't know. I'm cool doing stuff in that universe. I know there's a TV series now, but like, you need to know when to actually end the story. And I thought that was, perfect cap up. I don't think that movie needed to be like almost 3 hours, and that's still an issue. But I don't know. I'm curious with the next one because I'm like, if they're just going to resurrect him, which I assume they are.
I don't know about that.
Well, not resurrect him. He was never dead or something. I haven't paid attention to the news, but I'm like, just make a Donnie Yen movie. You had it set up. Take a shot. Make a Donnie Yen movie. He was a really interesting character. You know, so don't beat a dead horse.
Ben is saying that Mission Impossible is a good franchise, and I agree with that. No. But again, kind of the same problems. I can't tell those movies apart anymore. They're all good. I think the second film was kind of shit, but it's a good franchise. But can you tell them apart? And I can't. And that's problematic if you want to make an entire field of action kind of revolve around it. I don't know.
Yeah. Those movies actually got better as they went along, which is rare and kind of interesting.
I really like the De Palma film. I really do.
I do too.
It's a suspense film.
Yeah.
It's not an action film. And that's where it's different than the other is. But like when they decided to go to an action, they first stumbled the ball pretty hard, but made a lot of money with Mission Impossible 2. But that whole John Woo style just was such a bad idea for that franchise. I don't think that movie works.
No. I hear he's gonna do Face Off too. That's another. I'm kind of curious how that fares.
With Cage and Travolta again?
No, it can't be.
That's what he says.
Oh no!
Travolta is not. Travolta will die making that movie. I'm saying.
He kind of looks like he's already lost the face for sure.
He should continue working with the rock star or whatever, where he made that movie. I forget. Never mind.
Fanatic.
Yeah. Who directed that? That rock guy.
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst.
Fred
right?
Durst. He should just make Fred Durst movies for the rest of his career. Yeah.
Fred Durst should take up a career of stunt helicopter pilot. That's what should happen here.
I mean, you
I like the odds of that. And look, that's a film I'd watch.
Yeah.
On a website that's tracking me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could do it. You just have cast. It's not Castor Troy. It's just somebody with his face. I mean, you know.
I saw that film in theaters. I liked Broken Arrow more because I'm, brain damaged.
Broken Arrow is really good. I don't know why it's like the lesser praise of those. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, Con Air, Face Off, The Rock. I mean, Cage had those 3 just huge movies, and I don't know. Maybe it needed Cage with Travolta. I don't know.
I always say that there's a film called Exchange, which is Kyle MacLachlan and Kim Coates do the same thing, and that's just like, it's so much more fun to see those two do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it comes to John Woo, I just don't understand why we can't have a good physical media version of The Killer. Why is that movie not getting a definitive release of any kind? I've heard it's been had a lot of issues over the years.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
what is the deal with The Killer? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that definitive release. And I mean, John Woo's best stuff is his early stuff for sure. Hard Boiled. I mean, Game Changer. Yeah.
Hard Boiled with Anthony Wong.
Yes.
It all goes back to Anthony Wong.
A lot of people are discovering Anthony Wong right now, which I find interesting.
I will fly to a convention.
Oh, I would.
Anthony Wong.
I would too. We're working on a convention video down the line. It's probably going to piss some people off, I think, but we're going to do it anyways. Grabbing Anthony Wong. I mean, that guy is huge. You'd probably have people fly out of the country to come see him. And you look at his filmography. I mean, this guy was doing some shockingly low budget stuff while he was winning the equivalent of Oscars.
Yes.
The way his career worked is fascinating to me.
And because his family was mixed, they were British and Chinese. It's like he had to put up with so much stigma in the industry, so he had to fight for all those roles. In the grimiest of films, and yet he still did it. And at the same time, fronted a punk rock band at the same time.
He's had a fascinating life. He's dealt with some pretty crazy racism in his day. That he's got a really great story, and he's always memorable. I don't think he's ever been in a movie where he didn't steal the show, even in a smaller role.
Oh, Mummy 3, for Christ's sake. He's like, they have him in like 4 minutes of the movie, but he's awesome.
Yeah, I think I remember
the Dragon Emperor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not a lot of screen time, but I remember seeing him, and for some reason I don't think I knew he was in the movie when I went to see that. And I think I even was fanboyed out and went, Anthony Wong. Like everybody's just like,
but there's no way that only happens if someone important in the production of that film was a fan. That doesn't happen any other way, right? I mean, someone was like, we have a small role here, and I really want to just fly Anthony Wong into work for 4 days.
Yeah. That's one thing I'll give. I know there's mixed opinions on a Rob Zombie or an Eli Roth or even a Tarantino, but I love that they breathed new life into some great character actors' careers. That's one thing I think I admire them for. There's no reason Anthony Wong shouldn't be getting signed on for huge movies right now. He's so talented.
Well, I mean, he in Hong Kong he was. I mean, he did that IP Man sequel, and I mean, so I mean, I know it's Ip Man, but I'm not going to do that. But I think that someone like an Eli Roth though had got a stigma because of him personally, not because of his films.
Yeah.
And that's the hard one for me to grapple with. Like Rob Zombie, legitimately, there's a quality issue with Rob Zombie. Like there is, you can be very objective about it and say, okay, there's issues there. But Eli Roth, I don't think he has that piece of shit film that is just garbage.
Looking at his filmography, I don't think he's ever made a bad film. I know Hostel, that's not going to be for everybody. But I don't think he's ever put something out there where I was like, oh, what a piece of shit.
It's interesting that this year... Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I was going to say, I just didn't like Cabin Fever because I thought a lot of the characters were just douchebags. I mean, I just couldn't stand anybody. I still couldn't stand it, even if it was the point. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I love Cabin Fever, by the way.
I do too. He is a genuinely nice guy.
I'll give it another shot. I'll give it another shot.
It's very different for its time too. Like, and I appreciated that. But when that came out, people forget. Like, he did have a very brief convention run, and my friend Chris McGibbon, who's been on the show before, saw it when he was at a convention, and Eli Roth actually talking like, what did you think? What did you think? He's like, and Chris is a very blunt guy. He's like, I got to be honest, I hated it. And he just starts running. I hated everything about it. And he had a long conversation and a good conversation with Eli Roth, who was asking questions and appreciated his honesty. He didn't diva out about it. He wasn't like, oh, well, I'll get you next time, man. And it was just a very, he's a nice guy. I've only met him once, but really nice guy. And I root for the guy. So Rob Zombie's one of us too. You can hate the films, but
sure.
Yeah.
But I just want to remind everyone, Eli Roth has two mentors, David Lynch and Quentin Tarantino. Who comes from that? You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just listened. I got the Bloodsucking Freaks 4K, and he did the audio commentary for that when he was nobody. He just came in. I think he got paid like $50 to do it. He just came in, and you can see pre-fame fanboy if you go and listen to the track.
I believe it.
I like Eli Roth. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Did you guys like Thanksgiving?
I had fun with it, for sure. Again, is it a great movie? Is it a game changer? No, it didn't make my top 10, but I had fun with it. It's Thanksgiving. You know, I wasn't expecting anything deep. It's a fun, goofy slasher film. The only thing I will say is the killer is beyond obvious. I'm surprised. I talked to a lot of people who didn't guess it, but I was like, it's there.
Telegraphed.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, we're gonna catch him, and then he's like the only person not on screen. And it's like there's some moments that, you know, I don't quite understand.
Subtle, Eli, subtle.
Yeah.
I just went in. All I wanted out of it was a ton of fun, right? And I didn't even. I just wanted a grindhouse slasher film. I don't think it was in my head that I was getting something as commercial as I got. It does fit in pretty well with those late 90s slashers in a lot of respects, and that's not my wheelhouse. It's better than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't get me wrong, but I still got those vibes, and that's never as much fun as like the really grimy stuff or the new wave of horror that pops up, whether it's French Extreme or the Indian thing, or at the moment, where it's super smart but still doing the grindy thing. I love that.
I do feel, and people have commented on the original trailer, I don't know if they're specifically told you cannot do nudity anymore, because that is one thing that was in the trailer, and I'm like, I guess I can imagine from a director's standpoint right now, I don't know that I would even be comfortable doing it at this point, but that was shockingly lacking from that, because again, it is in the trailer, and I don't know that part.
In the trailer?
I believe there were breasts in the trailer. I could be wrong. Anybody that watched that recently can correct me, but you know, Grindhouse, that was an element.
Yeah,
that was always there. So,
well, nudity is in a weird place in movies right now, because in the past it was a selling point because nudity was actually kind of hard to come by. In 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, it was like what? Dirty magazines, maybe a National Geographic, you know? So people like, well, you hit 17 years old and you could go see an R-rated movie. That was part of the selling process. So, of course, the exploitation films were all about providing that. Yeah. Today, you don't have to leave your phone. So,
yeah, I guess I get that argument, I suppose. But, you know, when it calls for it, especially, again, in a slasher, because there's some setups for that in Thanksgiving that, you know, I had a lot of fun with the movie. That's one portion of it, considering the Grindhouse roots, that I do think they held back a bit. So
I think I just wanted it to be less slick, period.
I get that. I don't know how I feel, though, about putting in the scratches anymore.
I don't think they should have done that.
Yeah.
I just would like some like rougher editing and I wanted a film that kind of felt like looser, more playful, like the exploitation films were. This did feel kind of mechanical. It was kind of like an escalator rather than a roller coaster. Like all the beats were familiar. which people like, mind you. Most people are going to eat that up.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if I want to see a classic slasher, I literally own like 40 of them downstairs, right?
Yeah.
There's no need really to just retrace. But there's an audience that really loves it and just wants the comfort food.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to get in their way. They got one this year, and I had fun with it. I'm not buying it when it comes out. You know.
Yeah.
I don't need to own it.
You're getting a sequel, so I'm kind of curious to see what they'll do with that.
Ben wants to know the biggest surprise of the year.
I have that one.
Okay, go for it.
It came out in January, and like everybody on like Twitter or social media, they're all putting out their 10 best films of the year. It is so disheartening it is not on anybody's list, even though it came out and got awesome reviews. Look, this is the sequel to Searching.
Very good movie. Yeah.
Very, very good. These laptop desktop films are actually starting to grow on me. But I mean, this and Searching are like two of the best found footage movies I've ever seen. Literally. I mean, very underrated. I don't know why nobody else is talking about this. I really don't know. But
people just move on. Yeah, people move on
I know.
too fast. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Surprise of the year. I mean,
Saw, right? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, saw beating the odds.
That's not Infinity Pool for you. I know that.
No.
No.
So I think for me it was the 1-2 punch, like hoping but realizing that Exorcist was going to be garbage, but hoping that I was wrong, that everything I'd heard was wrong, that Blatty's son was wrong, who had seen the movie. Everything. I was still kind of hoping to be able to come out the other side and go, no, wait, guys. The hype is wrong. This is good. And then I saw the movie and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be and what I'd been told it was. Yeah. But then like I walked into saw X and it was like the opposite, whereas I was like, 10th film in the saga, a prequel. I'm not sure this is needed or will work. And fuck, man. I get like a character driven piece with real questions about mortality and morality and an ending that is conceptually pure, even if it's not going to be the crowd pleaser that the audience perhaps wants. I mean, it's just, to me, wow. So I guess if I was more expecting me to come out of Exorcist saying, well, I think everyone's blowing it out of control. It's not as bad as The Heretic. Newsflash, it's worse than The Heretic. And then I was expected to walk into Saw and come out going, well, can't win them all. I guess that franchise is past its sell-by date. And I came out going, how did they do that?
Yeah.
So
10th movie in the franchise. Not that they're awful, I guess, but Jigsaw and Spiral didn't do a lot for me. And Final Chapter was fun, I guess, but it was definitely a low point for the franchise. I was like, I didn't have high expectations, I'll put it that way. And I think that little bit of a tone shift, spending more, not even a tone shift, but spending more time with John Kramer and, even pulling at the heartstrings a little bit. I was not expecting them to pull it off the way they did. And I think maybe it was last year, but Clerks 3 is another one. That movie's more of a drama than a comedy. And it worked. It was the film
I actually liked it. Shockingly, I actually like Clerks 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Not as funny as Clerks 2. But it was like, oh, shit, this one got me. I wasn't expecting it.
It got me, too. Right. Kevin Smith actually kind of touched my heart a little bit.
And I have not liked a lot of his recent movies.
No,
Yoga Hosers, all that. Like, I was about done with Kevin
Jay and
Smith.
Silent Bob reboot, where they just do the whole movie over again just for the fuck of it.
Yeah, that has its moments, but yeah, I was kind of like, he just felt like a dead in the water filmmaker, and I was surprised. He's good at a very specific thing, and it's Clerks.
I don't want to litigate it. But the other big surprise for me is how I didn't respond to Godzilla -1.
Yeah, that surprised me too. I still feel maybe another watch down the line, you might get a little more out of it, but
maybe. I'm a Godzilla mark. This should not be that hard for me.
Yeah, and most Godzilla marks, though, I mean, that is probably the best reviewed movie of the entire year in genre circles. I
agree.
I don't think I've seen any bad reviews of it. Not that you hated it. I'm not saying you did, but yeah, most everybody.
I was just massively underwhelmed.
Mm.
Conceptually, it's so pure of a Godzilla film that it almost feels irrelevant. We have 54.
Mm-hmm.
And also just the kind of, I don't know, staleness of some of the ideas or how this ideas are presented. Maybe.
Hey,
Stone, long time no see, man.
Yeah, what's up,
How's
Joe?
it going?
Not bad. Been a while. Just wanted to jump on here for a moment. Talk for a moment.
How's your Christmas going?
No, not too bad. Not too bad. Just hanging in there.
Yeah? What's going on down there?
Same old song and dance, man. Just
see, I get criticized for watching movies that have song and dance in them, so. What was your favorite film of the year?
I'm not moving much. What's that?
What was your favorite film of the year, man?
I haven't watched a whole lot lately.
No? It could be an older film. You just saw it this year. It doesn't have to be. Whatever.
New to you. Yeah.
The old Lethal Weapon movies I'm watching.
I was gonna see. I'm gonna show how much of an idiot about 80s culture I am. But I was going, are you getting ready for the new one? But that's not that franchise. It's the Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I know. I don't you mean though.
Which that trailer was painful to me.
Is that still happening though? The one that Mel Gibson is going to direct?
Yeah, it is.
Called Lethal Finale. It's still coming.
I
Glover's
believe
like
so.
80. What the hell?
I don't think he's going to be a top.
Like to talk about being too old to do this shit. I mean, come on.
Richard Donner was. I mean,
well, he was in his 80s. Yeah, I know, but
yeah.
I think he was in his 90s. Yeah.
Lethal Finale. I just don't know if that's going to work.
I don't know. It has to. At least it can't be as bad as 4. I'm not a fan of 4.
I like most of those
not like
movies.
3 or 4, but I like 4 slightly better than 3. I mean, I just can't buy 90s Mel Gibson versus Jet Li. If it was 80s Mel Gibson versus Jet Li, maybe.
It's still a prospect.
I know. That's giving Mel a lot of,
That's like in that Fast and Furious film that had the guy from The Protector.
Tony Jaa.
Yeah, Tony Jaa, and I'm like, he could kill everyone on this without breaking a sweat. He could kill the entire Fast and Furious for like crew instantly. I'm not buying this fight.
I don't know, with like all this de-aging stuff now, I'm pretty convinced you're gonna have senior citizens ruling the box office.
Yeah.
I had trouble with Harrison Ford. I'm like, it looks like he would have trouble getting up to go to the bathroom.
Hey,
at this point,
it definitely looks it.
There's actually probably one of my big surprises of the year. I didn't hate that movie.
Really? Oh wow!
I didn't particularly care about it, but I expected to loathe it, and I didn't. And I will tell you that like I'll take it over the last 2 before it. I will. So at least it wasn't schmaltzy. Like Schmaltz is like the death of me. Like I know people like Last Crusade. Fuck that movie sentimentality. Fuck it. That's not what that franchise was.
Damn,
yeah, exactly.
Hate it.
When they try to make Action Man a character, that's where it. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Lauren. Last Crusade, it gets a little too cutesy, a little too sentimental, and it just felt like they didn't want to take any risks like they did with Temple of Doom. Because Temple of Doom risks all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Hollywood can't do those pulpy adventure movies anymore. It's kind of sad. They
Yeah,
just don't know how to pull it
I
off.
mean, it's sad they can't come up with anything new. That's the problem.
I agree with that 100%. But then again, the movie next year that I'm looking forward to the most, believe it or not, is the adaptation of The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Because the early screenings for that have gone through the roof. Like, people are loving this, and that's a shock to me. But
I did see that trailer. That looks kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, just imagine, Kick-Ass, a movie star being kidnapped, and Ryan Gosling has to find him as his moonlighting as a bounty hunter at night when he does all these stunts during the day. I mean, and Lee Majors is in it, so they got his approval.
Is he really?
He is going to do it. He is going to do
it. Gosling is actually underrated as an actor. I mean, he was great in Blade Runner 2049.
Very interesting.
Help me out.
Nice Guys. Nice Guys with Russell Crowe. Yeah.
I love The Nice Guys.
Nobody saw that movie.
Yeah.
I think Chris saw it, but I've not seen it in its entirety. That's the one put in the late 70s, right? Like detectives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're very bad detectives, but
that's a bit of an understatement.
So
I love The Nice Guys.
That is an amazing. That was my favorite film of the year, and for a comedy, because it's an action comedy. Wow. It's a comedy. To me, even make it on my list is rare, but it was the top of the list because I love that movie.
They had great chemistry. I mean, I thought that movie was hilarious, and it's another one. I don't know if the hype machine just wasn't behind it like it should have been. I was like, that should have made more money than it did.
Didn't it come out in January though too?
I think it was a January dump, possibly, which is crazy. Now everybody's got that perception. Oh, it's January. It's the throwaway. Yeah, I've seen some of my favorite movies in January. A24's dropped some of their horror classics that have dropped around then. It doesn't mean anything anymore that's a dump month. They may not believe in the box office, but you get good shit.
You mentioned A24. Are you intrigued by that Iron Claw movie?
Oh, yeah. Seeing that in about a week or a little less than a week now.
Okay.
What is that?
My bat is about to die on me. Y'all have a good night. And Stone, good to see you again.
You have a good one, Joe Bob. Good seeing you. See you soon, hopefully. Yeah, Iron Claw. That one, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I mean, that's a hell of a story. It's a sad one. It's going to be a rough movie.
I'm going to see an A24 film later this week, and that's the Zone of Interest, directed by Jonathan Glazer. Under the Skin. It's going to be hard to watch, but oh man, the reviews on it have been stellar as hell. Yeah,
I can't come up with the name, but there's something about a Catholic, somebody or a warlord that is like, he became a Catholic priest, and one of the victims' family recognizes him. I can't think of the name. It sounded really good because I'm kind of starting to go into that Oscar mode for our Oscar season, and Zone of Interest is on that list. That looks amazing. But
everybody's talking Oppenheimer. Everybody's talking Oppenheimer. So
I liked Oppenheimer. I really did. I thought that was.
I still haven't watched it, but yeah.
I was Nolan's weird because I think he's a great filmmaker. I was a little bit bored by Tenet, even though it's a good movie. I don't know. I didn't connect to it. Oppenheimer's pretty fantastic. I feel like it's not going to be my pick to get Best Picture, though.
Reminder that turn your cameras on if you want to come on in. I just got to make sure people are people.
There you go.
Camera on, people. That's half of you. Half of you understood the direction.
Yo, what's up?
What up, Orc?
What's up, man?
What's your favorite movie of the year so far?
What is your 2023 movie?
You watched Dumb Money. I know that one you watched.
Yeah, probably Dumb Money might be my favorite, but I really like John Wick 4, Creed,
John Wick 4,
Evil Dead 4, Creed 3, was it? Yeah.
So that's like Rocky 7 or something, right?
Let me do the math here. 8. Rocky 8.
Yeah. I just want them now to go wild. Like he has to fight like a cyborg AI version of himself. Like I feel like we can get there.
This is the time travel element has to be entered in a de-aged Sylvester Stallone versus Creed.
There you go.
There it is, right?
I'm really Iron Claw I want to see though, but I really want to check out, and I can in the theater, but weather permitting, Oppenheimer and Napoleon.
Oh yeah, Napoleon isn't getting. I don't know. It feels like that had a lot of buzz. Then it's tapering off a little bit for some reason.
Did you see it then?
I haven't seen it yet. I need to get to it. I've been reviewing so many movies, and when I go now, I try and see 2 movies back to back. But everything's 3 hours, so I can't make that work.
So like when that movie came out, the first thing that I was getting messaged like by multiple people saying like, "Hey, there's a cannonball that goes through a horse in the opening minutes. You're gonna love it." Good that people understand me.
Animals die. You send Lauren a text.
I can tell you though that
that would make Michael. That would make Michael so proud. So proud. Remember in Heaven's Gate, he got all that.
Oh yeah, but after Pindom and that CGI dog, there's a heavy price. I mean, this horse death has to be pretty fantastic. This is going to beat the dog bashing its own. This bad CGI dog bashing its head in. It's too good. I'm telling you guys, when you see it, you're going to laugh like uncontrollably. I was laughing so loud that people in the theater were looking at me.
Usually you don't laugh at the animal deaths. That's kind of the
no. You have to see it. It might as well be like a hamster riding a toaster. It's the best thing ever.
There you go. Well, Orc laughs at inappropriate. I can just see you laughing.
I laugh at everything like that, man. Like a few of my friends back in Colorado, they're like, "Man, John Wick, it's a good movie, but like that dog death, it's like so unnecessary." And I'm just like, dude,
the whole plot,
the whole reason.
It's
there's been like about a 500,000 people have died for that dog at this point. Like,
yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing though about the John Wick series. All that one of the other villains has to do is come out with 2 trained dogs, and John Wick dies. He's not going to kill dogs. They're going to tear him apart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That would be the fun.
You can call me Hollywood; it'd be fine.
You set up the big fight at the end. They just release a bunch of dogs, and they just
bury him in dogs. Pieces of John Wick are flying up.
Yeah.
But I was checking out Region Free, and I have to DM a few people and get their top 10 lists, and then I'm gonna do the same thing once Flesh Wound does your guys' show. So
yeah, ours is pure horror, but yeah,
and it's nice like being able to support a lot of these films or whatever you follow or enjoy in life, but Amazon having them is one thing, but some of them are just really hard to find, like a lot of Lauren's picks. And yours, a few of your picks too, Dan. But
it's getting easier. It's finally getting easier. But yeah, I agree.
But then it's like it's like they're available. But then it's like, will they alter them? Like kind of from like a Lucas standpoint, even though nothing's probably that bad. But yeah.
There was some meme going around with like True Lies, and they've got them like pixelated. They all look like Sims characters with the 4K artwork now. I think it's funny it took that long to get that. Never had a Blu-ray in America, and now it's like everybody's pissed. You've got it, but
do you? Do you really?
Speaking of Blu-rays, I can't wait till February 20th because Richard Franklin's Patrick, the
4K
Australian horror thriller, that's going to get a nice powerhouse 4K Blu-ray. I'm going to buy that as soon as it's available. Oh yeah,
Beverly Hills Cop 3 comes out.
Which one?
The Landis film?
Yeah.
Stone, have you ever seen the sequel to Patrick?
Patrick still
I've
lives.
never seen that sequel. I've seen the remake. I saw the remake came out in like 2013, I think, but I didn't see the unofficial sequel.
The sequel's a very different film than you think it's going to be.
They don't fear lawsuits,
from
do
what
they?
No.
Because it's not at all official. It would just be like if I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make Creed 5. I'm just gonna do it.
And include death by vaginal penetration.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely
very different tone from Patrick too. That
a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that just like we are just gonna sex and gore it up.
Sometimes like it's in a different movie entirely because
classic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Holy hell.
Oh,
See, that's a film that Vinegar Syndrome was born to release, right?
Exactly. I don't know why they didn't do that.
They did put out Untold Story too.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of I just picked up Ghost Nursing recently.
Speaking of which, what's the latest on Best Buy? I've heard that they were getting rid of physical media, and now I've heard they're not. What's the latest?
I haven't heard that they're not. That there's been any change to the plan.
There was like the Disc Father and some other one, like reliable source on Twitter said that they emailed like a bunch of people from Best Buy corporate, and then they said they weren't getting rid of physical media. No, I'm not trolling. Maybe
I saw that, but is that just still clearing out what they already have? Like, I don't know. I haven't looked deep into it, but I did see that post.
Are they keeping their arrangement with Baker and Taylor? Because that's what it comes down to.
I don't know.
See,
that's it.
Well, that's how we could tell whether it is or not. But I mean,
yeah, I did see. I didn't click. I just assumed they were still just clearing stuff out. But if Disc Father is usually a pretty good source, so maybe they are. I don't know. It's
got to be a matter of time, though. Either way, right?
I'll take any good news I can get. But yeah. I agree. It seems like odd that they would reverse on that. Although I said it before, I really have no reason to go into a Best Buy ever again. I mean, what do you need to buy at a Best Buy now? I'm not a tech guy. Maybe there's an answer, but I'm like computer, Amazon, Walmart.
Computer, phone, TV. That's about it.
But they're all more expensive, at least that I see. So, physical media at least gets a guy like me in the door. Maybe I'll
exactly
impulse buy something, but
I'm not seeing anything official from Best Buy, so I don't know.
Okay.
I saw all those same.
Any outlet period? Are there any other outlets period have physical media that you could walk in? I mean, is GameStop like the only one left?
Well, Walmart, Target, barely.
Walmart are down to very low.
It depends on the Walmart. I mean, mine, I will say, is the same. It's been probably for the last 6 years or so. But yeah, it depends which one you're in. Target is like a tiny little end cap now.
It's a corner. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
It is. It is. No.
I don't know. Listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm still in the process of trying to make sure I have everything I need. I'm not worried about the new releases necessarily as much as getting a hold. So I don't really care if I can walk into the store right now and get it, as long as I can get it, because I feel like the clock is clearly ticking now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I just want to make sure there's nothing I'm leaving off table that I'm going to regret not having picked up. As far as
a lot of good stuff, lots of more great releases at the moment than we've ever had. So, yeah. I mean, my God, stuff I never thought we would see.
The day I'm dreading is when they stop selling Blu-ray players. That's the day I'm dreading.
So that day is probably closer than the physical media death, unfortunately.
That's scary as hell.
Blu-ray is down to about 25% of the disc market every week. There's exceptions, like Indiana Jones actually did better on high def formats, but next week it'll literally be back down to 25%. DVD is right around 50% every week now, consistently. I mean, if you were Samsung, LG, Sony, whoever, why would you ever consider buying something that's 20 or putting a new model on the market for something that's 25% of an already decreasing marketplace that's losing about a quarter of its entire sales every year? It doesn't make sense. You might keep DVD players around because they're the biggest share, but Blu-ray players, no. And then there's a reason there hasn't been a new U.S. company producing, or major European company even producing a new UHD player in 3 years was the last one, and before that it's like 5 years.
3. Yeah. No, I mean, luckily you won't have trouble getting a Blu-ray player for a while, but I don't know. I don't know how long that limps along, but like I said, I'll take any good news I can get. So
and what Ghost is saying is true, of course. Like, Blu-ray players can play both, but it's just a matter of cost. They're going to produce the cheapest machine they can for a marketplace.
That's why you want to get, like, if you can bank some of the better players now, because you will probably have a budget version of it that's going to be the standard soon, I would imagine.
Everyone always was putting all their money on, the game systems will be the way they can keep their disc libraries, but now that's optical discs and players is pretty much a done deal there too. So
isn't the last, whatever it was that they put out, the last one that's going to have the disc drive, I believe? I
don't know, but they've said it a few times and they've backed off, so maybe it has a couple more years in it. I don't know.
The newest version of the PS5, which comes out next holiday season, I think in September, is going to have a 4K Blu-ray drive. I think it's going to have both no disc drive and then the drive.
Maybe that's going to be like the last.
You pay more for the one, right? You'll pay more for the one worth owning.
Yeah.
But how much is that going to cost though? Like what, 1,000, 2,000?
No, 500.
500.
Not insane though.
I guess I could do that. I just won't buy any video games.
Well, I wouldn't do that. I mean, again,
howdy.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey.
Yo.
I just think you got to be careful right now of buying UHD discs that don't come with the Blu-rays.
That's my issue. Yeah.
When those combo packs I used to make fun of were smart, I was wrong, and I'm glad to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because if UHD is really vulnerable because it's just not a big enough part of the market, and none of us are stockpiling enough of those players. So
it's hard. Those are still higher. You can stockpile a handful of Blu-ray players though without breaking the bank too bad.
Oh, absolutely. Every time
you find a cheap one, buy it, man. That's what I do.
I'm in a thrift store that has one still in the box because it goes home with me.
Yeah.
So, on Blu-ray players, I should be fine, but UHD players, I have my one player. You know,
I have. I've actually done okay. I've gotten. I got a UHD player in the Samsung UHD player in the box for like $15 off Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll buy those too.
Oh,
if they come up.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, even used. I mean, shit. I'll gamble for around that price.
On this firmware. Sorry.
So everyone needs to answer this. How long until a worldwide hack that shuts everything down? Months, years, decades?
Did you just watch Leave the World Behind, Daily Ghost? Is that what happened there?
No, he just watched that fourth Die Hard film. Was that the same plot?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they were shutting. Yeah. Kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was before everything was connected, though, so it was kind of far-fetched.
But now it's retro.
Like, yeah, so no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you totally.
Now they'd have access to the nukes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, back then you really couldn't. What was it, like 07? Really, what kind of havoc could you cause?
It's a question of what technology.
Yeah.
It's also a question of what technology they have that you don't know about, too. because I
yeah,
fully
but it's like all the valuable information that you could like destroy through a hack, or the utilities you could shut down just weren't there 16 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm worried that they're going to hack into my smart refrigerator and make everything warm.
Yeah. Everything's just right at the spoiling temperature.
Jesus Christ. Those 2 rotisserie chickens that have been in there for a month are going to be bad.
They're just slightly warm. They're still a little cool to touch.
Wait, quick show of hands. If you've ever finished a full rotisserie chicken, because I never have, there's always one in the refrigerator that's a partial. In
I'm hopeful.
Box.
I have a lot of hope when it comes to leftovers. That usually I'm just setting them there until I throw them away later. That's all we're doing.
I've kind of like accepted that if something big like that happens, I'm just toast. I was a paranoid kid. Like I remember wanting to stockpile and buy like a bunker in Montana during Y2K. Now I'm just
still want to do that. I think you can't go wrong with a bunker. Worst case scenario, you have a cool underground house.
I was looking at 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I was like, you know what?
A cheerleader down there, okay, chained to a wall.
Yeah, that's
Van, did you watch Leave the World Behind?
I haven't yet. I need to, because a lot of people.
That's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, that's the buzzworthy movie right now. I do need to check that out.
Julia Roberts is miserable in that movie.
Oh, doing genre now too. Finally, she never really did.
The whole time you'll be thinking, though,
her last movie was. Her last movie was this hardcore addiction drama called Ben is Back, where she was really good at it. And I've never been the big Julia fan, but I mean, she's starting to really, really act, like really come out and give some real performances.
I mean, she wasn't bad in this; like she just played a really unpleasant character.
Yeah, she the headliner, or I know there's a few
her and Mahershala Ali. It's supposed to be Denzel, which it would have been better with Denzel, but it wasn't bad.
Everything's better with Denzel.
Yeah, the whole time watching it, it's just like I wish I didn't know that. This man's doing a fine job.
Do you think Denzel is going to save Gladiator 2 next year?
Who knows? Probably.
Yes, he's starring in Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's just Ridley Scott wanting to work with him, I'm sure. Denzel is probably seems like a space alien to us because he is what a movie star always kind of was, but we don't have anymore. Which even more so than Tom Cruise. Now that I've thought about this show a lot, is that like Tom Cruise picks projects that make him a bigger than life actor, right? Denzel actually can take on just about anything and bring the quality. And that's the difference. Like Tom Cruise has to do Tom Cruise things. Denzel can just do anything.
Tom Cruise has to be able to be in charge of the entire production, essentially.
And listen, I'm not an anti-Tom Cruise guy, actually, at all. It's just...
Maverick was great, right? So,
well, that movie's unexpectedly brilliant, and that's a problem. We all wanted that movie to suck, didn't we? Because we saw the trailers for like 3 years, and we're like, they're really making a Top Gun too.
It was so fun.
Why would you do that? And then we get in there, and it's like, oh, I kind of fucking love that.
Tom Cruise and Denzel Washington are really like the last two or three maybe that haven't just started doing throwaway VOD or streaming movies. Like, yeah, they haven't gone that route. I mean, my God, De Niro and Pacino do them now in between bigger projects.
De Niro fell off hard like 20 years ago.
Oh, there's a lot of good movies on that guy's resume.
There is, and there's been good movies in that time period, but there's also been Bad Grandpa. Or not Bad, or was it Dirty Grandpa?
Yeah, I think he just wants to work all the time. That's what I've heard about De Niro. Because, yeah, I'm looking at that and I was like...
Keeps having kids. He has to work.
Yeah, I think he got divorced too, so he's kind of at that phase where it's just...
Yeah, that every 80-year-old man goes through when he's looking for his next wife.
Yeah. He's good in Killers of the Flower Moon. So, you know, he's still churning them out.
Sit down for that one, yeah.
It's long. Everything's long. That's the problem. Just everything.
So that's a good actual question. Like, what is for you guys? And you can do this by genre or however you choose to do it. But what's too long? What should you feel a movie should be, and what is the point at which you go, I'm out?
Over 2 hours. Over 2 hours.
Flower Moon is a good example. Like, I'm not going to make a point to it because of the length.
It can justify the length, though. I will give it that.
Sure, but I don't have that kind of time.
No, I get it. Now, like,
just wait till Apple TV releases it as a fucking extended limited series kind of thing, and watch it that way.
The 8-hour cut, yeah.
I don't watch television.
There's no such thing as television anymore, so you're in luck.
I have an issue when it's a popcorn action flick. You know, like I like all the John Wick movies. That last one, it shouldn't have been that long. You can still tell that story and tighten it up a little bit. Because I do start to look at my watch a little bit now, particularly
at 2 hours. At 2+ hours, you got to have something to hook me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and like Killers of the Flower Moon, like I will watch it because it's Scorsese. I mean,
yeah.
Orc is actually a fan of John Wick, a hardcore fan. So, like, did you feel the length?
All the way, yeah. No, fucking. Let's see. I was like, Dan, should I see this movie? And he's like, yeah, it's worth a 3-hour runtime. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I didn't check my watch once.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I have a feeling it's going to be a good movie, or I've been waiting for something for a really long time, like 3 hours is probably the cap. Other than that, too, like everyone else was saying.
It depends if you're at a theater too.
Yeah, man. I can get away with a little more at home.
Stone, what's too long?
I'm sorry?
What's too long for a film?
What's too long for
a film?
I think I mean, you know, they can take as long as they can to tell the story, I mean, as long as the viewer's engaged. I mean, I can watch the 7-hour Russian version of War and Peace and not be bored for 1 second. But I mean, it really all depends. I mean, you know, I think for most movies, I mean, you know, 2 hours and 10, 15 minutes, it should be like a limit for most of them. But, you know, most people just don't want to sit in the theater for that long. I mean, that's why I didn't want to go see Oppenheimer. Because I don't want to have to, you know, get up halfway through to take a piss and miss something important. We need to bring back intermissions in movies, period.
Lots of films I see have intermissions. They just don't actually do them. The card comes up and then they play the next reel. but the card comes up telling you there's an intermission there. It just isn't there.
I'm for that. For something that long, I don't feel Oppenheimer would suffer with an intermission. Because I'm the type of guy I will hold it
feel that
until
movie,
I'm about
though.
to die.
I didn't feel the length in that one.
No, and it had to be. That movie had to be long. You couldn't do Oppenheimer. I mean, you could, but you would sacrifice a lot making it a 90-minute movie.
The coolest intermission card ever is in Game Over, though. Because you get to the end of the plot that explains the tattoo, and the screen just freezes, and the pause button comes up on screen. And then when you come back from intermission, it says game on. And that's when the slasher stuff starts. It's just the coolest thing. It's like it's in movie meta. It's just great. It's awesome. Yeah. And you only saw it that way if you saw it in theaters, because the home video version does not play that way.
Maybe more double features, and not just for retro movies too. I feel like that's something I'd like to see more of, and maybe you get that option. Drive-ins, but unfortunately, it's hard to bring those to everybody. Land's expensive, so if you got one, you're very lucky.
Very fortunate to have one here.
Yeah. No, it's. I don't know
Pretty
if you
big
could,
one too. Sorry.
Yeah, I wonder, like at like an AMC, if you could charge just slightly more, like you're getting one movie half off or something.
I don't see why they wouldn't try anything.
Yeah, give it a shot. Attach. Maybe there's a smaller movie that you believe in, but you know is going to struggle a little bit, and give that option. You can watch the double feature with Oppenheimer and Dream Scenario or something like that, you know. Try some different things.
I just think that the theaters need to come around to the fact that they are selling entertainment, not movies in particular. So, like, we should get film, both new and old, and retro and foreign, and small and large. But we should also get event television, sporting events, everything to make the theaters as healthy as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I did like the AEW pay-per-views in the theater.
Yeah, it's like you're at a show.
That was cool. Because, I mean, that's something I'm not going to pay $60 for, but I'd buy a ticket and go hang out, right?
I think that makes good sense. I think there's even a bigger one. That's the one when you hear it, you're going to be like, fuck, really? No one's thought of this? I know they're not popular anymore, but the Academy Awards. Doesn't it make sense to watch it in a theater?
Yeah.
But I also think you know what, like the Taylor Swift thing proves something too, which is that like every band that has a following should be able to put a concert film out now.
People will go.
Well, they're complete profit.
Right.
I mean, you got paid to make it.
Maybe some William Castle like theatrics too. I'd love to see that come back.
No,
and I know maybe it's harder with the modern audience, but give me some kind of a gimmick attached to something like to make me smile. I don't know. Something like Thanksgiving. I throw a fucking turkey flying overhead or something. I don't know. I miss that. That was really, I wasn't around for that, but I agree. I think even you, Lauren, brought up like, why do we not have a gift shop?
We need
at a movie theater?
Gift shops. We need value packs where it's like, okay, look, if you're two 18-year-olds and you're going on a date, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be like a $50 price tag that gets you 2 tickets, 2 drinks, and a snack to share, and a popcorn to share? And you walk in and you're just done, right? Just as a one. It's like, I don't understand why they're not thinking of their business as a dynamic thing. I also think that there should be a real option for families. Hear me out here. 2 parents, 2 kids. They go to the movies to go see Troll World Domination Tour, whatever the fuck that thing is, right?
Yeah.
How much is that night for that family?
Oh, insane!
It's $100, right? $100, right?
Minimum.
Yeah.
That's why parents don't.
That's if we're sneaking candy in, buddy.
That's why parents don't do it. How about this for kids' movies? Parents should pay half price for themselves. It's the kids that pay full price.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just let the parents in for free, as long as they're accompanying kids.
Just there. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But they go then. Like, why would the movie industry worry about how many people are actually staring at the screen as opposed to how many people showed up?
My brother has 3 kids, and they do wait on a lot of stuff because it is like, that's going to be north of $100.
Hmm?
Well north if you're actually eating there.
Well, when you go, you want to get the popcorn. You want to do the whole experience. You don't want to just roll in and see the movie.
Yeah.
For the family, it's got to be the whole 9.
I feel like there definitely are things that they could do because, I mean, if you're, like you said, you want to take you're 18, you want to take your girlfriend out to do something. It's not as many options anymore. Like,
no,
get creative,
I mean, these kids are on a budget. Everyone's on a budget, but if you knew one price tag was you're done, then you can plan.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think a lot of it also, and I don't know why this is such a big deal to me, but get the fucking ads out of the theaters, because if I'm paying for experience, don't cheapen the experience by trying to sell me a car, insurance, or Coke. Either I'm going to buy the Coca-Cola in the lobby or I'm not. You're not going to convince me with an ad at this point. And I'm not going to buy car insurance because you're in front of like Barbie or Oppenheimer. It's not going to happen. So get rid of them. That money is a waste for everyone involved, and it cheapens the experience that I'm already paying for.
You just cursed yourself because now you're going to get the new wave of Nicole Kidman Geico commercials.
Fuck. It's going to be like AMC. It's going to be a half hour of Nicole Kidman before every movie, guaranteeing I will never go to another AMC.
Bare minimum.
You remember when those started and it was like, I think the first time I ever saw one was like the Fellowship of the Ring. And I was like, why is there a car commercial ad before the movie? What is going on?
There's a car like driving through New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like,
Peter Jackson.
The Mazda Go. Whatever. Jesus. No, but I mean, if they don't realize how much that stuff does offend the moviegoers. I think there should be family pricing. It just makes sense. There definitely should be the reinstate date nights. That was the thing when I was growing up. Tuesdays were date nights. There was 2 tickets for the price of 1.
Yeah. It's a ghost town usually on weeknights like that anyway. So get some people in there, make a little more money.
And then the other thing is really confusing to me is that when a movie comes out and it doesn't do well in its first couple weeks, they jettison it even though they have screens sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
Movies used to play for months on end when I was a kid, even if they didn't do well initially. Now they just jettison them off to streaming land. And I don't know, the people who just were busy that week are not going to get the chance to see it in the theater. There's so many reasons they're putting up roadblocks to the modern world.
Merchandise is the one thing that I just don't understand. You have kids coming out of, Trolls, whatever. Barbie, my God. You would think like you're surely going to sell some Barbie plushies on the way out if you had them available. 100 probably for inflated prices. I don't understand. You can have a tiny little gift shop. Most theaters have the room. I'm not talking something.
Get rid of the arcade. Get rid
Exit
of
through the gift
arcade.
shop.
Yeah, the arcade doesn't make you that much money.
I haven't seen an arcade in a theater in a long time.
Oh,
there's a few that still do.
There's still
Yeah,
there's still a few.
Yeah.
Hell, at the Alamo Draft House, they got like NBA Jam in the lobby.
Yeah.
I remember people used to have their birthday parties when I was a kid at the movie theater. Go see a movie, play in the arcade.
Oh yeah,
get Dippin' Dots.
Stab the homeless guy out back.
Well, that's the best part. That's like the pinata.
Let's go
got a
weird guy.
Thick red Kool-Aid in him. This pinatas.
That's why you couldn't know. That's why we got kicked out of the CC's. Yes, it's
you gotta worry about
pizza,
kicking
but...
me out of a CC's.
They just start selling you firecrackers to throw at them on your way out.
You do know that the secret of CC's is that you don't eat the pizza. It's the soup. Their chicken noodle soup is like phenomenal. Just eat this. It's worth the whole buffet price.
Did you guys ever go to a Showbiz pizza? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we had Showbiz Pizza here.
I never had Showbiz Pizza near me. Why was it Showbiz? Explain.
It was like discount Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Ours turned into a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it was a place where kids went to for birthday parties, where like they had like an animal band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
I loved it.
I'm sorry, Lord. Carry on. I
Showbiz Pizza sounds like my worst time as a child. If that had happened for me, I can't imagine. I hated everything about being a kid.
Me too.
I hated it. Jesus Christ.
Summer camps were the worst, man. I just want to slash my wrist at summer camp.
That's got to, I talk about that a bunch. I've asked a bunch of people about that stone. That had to be a Northeast thing. Because I never knew one person that went to summer camp like that. Always wanted to. It just wasn't a thing down here.
Northeast and for some reason the Jewish culture. I've had a lot of Jewish friends that went to summer camps. That I don't know why, but yeah.
Did they get their
summer camp? That came
out.
Well, if movies is your favorite thing in the world, then going to summer camp was like going to hell. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But I wanted to
That
live out
came
some of the
out
things I
bad.
saw in, Meatballs and fucking other camp movie. Ernest Goes to
The
Camp.
Burning.
No, not that one.
The Burning. No, Little Darlings. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You're
went
not
up
wrong
Yeah.
though. It is northeast. I don't know why. That is more northeast. Here, I know my nephew did one, but it was like for a week. Like it wasn't like you just go away for the summer. Yeah.
For Boy Scouts, they did that. I mean, we would go to Goshen, Virginia for like 1 week where we had only a week to get all our merit badges.
Yeah.
What a
We
Yeah.
did that, we did that stuff for Boy Scouts, but not just random ass kids in the middle of the woods for a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
I still have not seen Beau is Afraid. Beau is Afraid. I'm sorry. I've been over this. I've been over this a million times, but I'm always afraid with Astor films. So
You have to take the previous films he did out of your head first of all. Definitely with that, because it's not really a horror film. I don't know what you would think on that, Lauren. I liked it, but it's a really weird movie, and I'm a weirdo, so I don't know. I'd love to see you.
It's a long one. That's what's actually kept me away. Not from the weirdness, it's the length.
Yeah.
It can't be that weird and that long. I can only do one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll get around to it just the same way it took me forever to see Midsummer. So it is the same thing. It's just going to take me a hell of a long time to get the courage to be slightly disappointed, probably. It's just a problem I have. It's just my own psychosis.
If you like Parker Posey, you should enjoy it.
In 1992, I like Parker Posey. I don't know about now.
Yeah. I love 90s Parker Posey. I don't know about now, though. Parker.
Although I think Parker Posey in the 90s was probably a pretty horrible human being, but...
Oh, yeah. You seen Days Confused? She was pretty horrible in that.
Get
down on the ground, bitches.
Why, by the way, is a musical version of Mean Girls coming out? Why does that exist?
Yep.
Because they feel they can butcher that name.
Yeah. I actually like Mean Girls, man. Like quite a bit.
I don't think I ever saw it.
It's no Heathers, but it's
nothing. During that time though, like
it's not even a jawbreaker, to be honest with you.
No, but like, okay, that was my high school era, and we got just a couple of like really iconic high school movies during that time. Mean Girls being one of them.
Okay, so House of Yes is an amazing movie for exactly that reason. Yes.
It's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s best film by far.
And then Parker Posey made a Blade movie.
Yeah, that was weird. And then it's like, I'm never doing that again. But then she did. She was the Doctor in the Lost in Space series on Netflix, and she was good. She was very good.
Didn't she make a Scream movie? Or did I dream that?
She did.
Well, she was wasted in Superman Returns as Lex Luthor's Maul. She didn't do a damn thing except stand there and hold a damn dog. Not a damn.
She's kind of like Ben Kingsley.
That's kind of a metaphor for that whole movie, though.
Yeah, she's kind of got like a Ben. Like she'll do all these great indie movies, but whenever she tries to go genre, it just never seems to work out. Ben Kingsley's similar. Like he turned up in some really bad, big budget Hollywood films, but I don't know why. But Lost in Space.
Well, he's worked with Uwe Ball, so I mean,
yeah, it's wild. Who's worked with Uwe Ball? It just be like Ben Kingsley, Tara Reid. Let's see, Burt Reynolds, Stephen Dorff. It's just like he's throwing darts out there in Hollywood and seeing who he hits. The casting for his movies were insane.
People like money.
Yeah. Blood Rain even got a 4K. You know that one will turn it around.
I'm not sure it will.
That'll be the save.
So I know I showed this off recently already, but I wanted to show everyone again the Kaylee Reed art print. Oh, damn,
nice. There you go. There you
Isn't
go.
that a beautiful thing?
That is very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Definitely check out her work, people. She's pretty amazing and a good person. Support artists because they need it, and they shouldn't have to do shit jobs to make a living when they have talent. And by talent, I mean they worked at it. I don't mean you're born with it. I mean that you actually worked for the creative, and it should be supported.
Yep.
I'll try and remember to throw the link under this video too. But Kaylee Reed Design, I believe, is the website. But I'll try to remember to put the link up. So what else you guys have before we finish up the night? Because we're almost 2 hours doing this.
Let's see. What do we have coming up? Mostly getting ready for our year-end show. I'm doing our cram stuff now, which is like everything we missed in 2023, which, believe it or not, there are films we have. So I'm doing that. Then it's like Oscar. I got to knock out all the Oscar stuff. So it's a lot to watch. This is my...
You get to watch Air.
I get to watch Air for sure. I think that guy... I haven't even looked at... Did they announce the nominations yet?
I think they did Golden Globes, didn't they?
Yeah,
for the Golden Globes they have. But
yeah.
You
can kind of discern at least the lineup, right, from the Golden Globes. So
kind of. I try and start earlier in the year, but then the last time I watched a bunch of stuff, I didn't have to because I just assumed it was going to get some kind of a nomination. So I don't know. Zone of Silence, I'm probably going to see soon. So that one sounds like it'll be up there, but yeah. So that's what I'm doing. Fleshwind features.
And does anyone have any New Year's resolutions? I certainly don't make them. Mark, what's 2024 look like for you?
Be less of a fat ass. Gonna try one more time again, and trying to collect more physical media while not being homeless at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. You can always hook the Blu-ray player up in the McDonald's or something if you had to.
He's gonna Ben Franklin that shit and run a key on the end of a kite to power his Blu-ray player and television out in the parking lot behind the Circle K.
There
As
you
they
go.
say in live streams, never donated, never supported McDonald's Wi-Fi, stolen laptop.
Awesome.
There you go.
Stone, what's your 2024 look like?
Nope.
Jonathan, what's your 2024 look like?
I have no idea, man. I barely know what the fuck 2023 looks like.
Facts.
I'm still trying to catch up from 2020.
When someone puts pause on the world.
Mm-hmm. Hang on for a minute. Let me catch up.
Stone, you back with us?
Oh,
I guess that's an answer.
The Julia Roberts movie's happening, Orc.
Yeah. I mean, for myself, I'm hoping 2024 can be a much calmer year with a lot less stress in my life. Maybe a few more smiles and less frowns. But you have to work at that stuff. You can't just hope it comes. I'm hoping to be able to do more on the channel. This year I didn't do as much as I would have liked. A lot of reasons for that, but the mileage between an excuse and a reason is not as far as you'd think. So I have to make an imparted effort to do more.
Yes.
But ultimately, we live life in service of those around us, right? So the big thing I always try and keep in mind is there's always people who have lives that are harder than mine. And I try every day to do one act of kindness to a stranger, whether it's something as simple as holding the door and waiting for the person or helping someone in whatever way I can. Sometimes I fail. I don't always make it to my one a day. Wow.
Sorry, it's my dog.
That?
My dog does not believe in holding doors, people, apparently.
Yeah,
I'm
apparently.
sorry.
Was he on top of the microphone? I can't figure out what the fuck. Like
he jumped up to my back, and yeah, you got a straight shot at the microphone.
Oh, okay. This makes a little more sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There was some physics bending.
But yeah, I just think that we had something really special here during the COVID years as a community, and we've all kind of, except for Dan, have backslid away a little bit. It's been an amazing thing to have people around. Even when I wasn't around, a lot of people were still supporting me and letting me know that I had people, and I don't. Even though I get very quiet and I recede, it all means a lot to me.
Like my hairline. I'm sorry, I had that.
That's a long time in the past, babe. So that's really where I want to leave it. Obviously, you guys know where to find me if you found this stream. Probably going to be an announcement in January on the writing side of the world. So
Nice.
Stay tuned for that. Otherwise, any final words, guys? Before I push a button and everything gets loud?
Bring back Ramsey Campbell in 2024.
Working on it. All right. Night, guys. It's been fun.